Hello and welcome to another week of Xbox Infinite. I don't know why I did that. G'day, welcome
Radio.
to
You get all your ASMR sounds.
welcome to another week of Xbox Infinite, episode 64. We did advertise that we had Jez last minute. He had to cancel, and we got the man, the myth, the legend from Legendary Drops himself, Marc. How you going? Welcome back, man.
Hi.
Thanks for coming.
Hi, guys. That was a joke. Yeah. Hey.
Hey, Marc.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, guys, this is going to be awesome. Yeah. Appreciate you guys inviting me. Yeah, it's no problem.
Yeah, what have you been up to? What have you been playing, dude? How's your week looking?
I picked up, I'm on vacation, so I was like, you know what? Backlog. And then I picked up Valhalla. Been playing that. It was only $20 on the old Steam store.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing Pillars of Eternity because I wanted to learn more about the world of Avowed. So I was getting into the story of that, which is actually really super awesome. So if you're looking forward to like Baldur's Gate, you should try out Pillars of Eternity. It's pretty good, and it's on Game Pass, so why not try it?
Mm-hmm. I also saw you've been playing Baldur's Gate, dude.
Oh yeah, I play. Well, we had to record some footage for another video. So I've been playing it for I've got about 100 hours into Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
But he needed some footage for a video that Ian's making, and yeah, we jammed some of that last night. So
yeah, man.
Pillars,
Speaking,
is it really reading intensive?
What Baldur's Gate?
Pillars of Eternity.
Pillars. Not really. Everything's fairly voiced. Even like the reading parts, like the letters and notes and stuff, it's voiced.
Oh, okay.
that's cool.
It's a very slow game, Pillars of the Eternity.
is.
It's a great game, but it's very
Yeah.
slow game.
I don't like
it
my
is
reading
slow.
very much unless.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, does it got words? Yes.
I cancel it.
DoomCutie, welcome back to the show. How you doing? How's your week been? What have you been up to?
I am alive.
What have you been playing?
I'm alive. What have I been playing? You guys, I'm gonna say it again. Those bloody book pages in Hogwarts Legacy, they're driving me crazy, guys. They're the bane of my existence, but I can't stop. I'm addicted. I'm sorry. Of course I've beat the game. I've spent a week in the game, Umbra. A week.
I got more hours than you.
Yeah, I know. I've looked at the charts. I know, but
Yeah.
it seems like you don't sleep, man. Like I need my sleep.
I am. I am sometimes.
I haven't been here for a couple of weeks, but I am happy to be here. Happy to talk with you guys.
Well, welcome back. JediKnightPete, welcome back to the show yourself. What have you been playing? What have you been up to? Actually, we played that little card game. Did you play it? Because I had a go at it with Jesus.
I did play it, yeah.
Forgot I was playing with.
So after you got off, me, Wolf, Manic, and even Gango jumped in for a couple of games. It was really fun. Free game on Game Pass. What's it called? Kart
Racer Drift.
Yeah, very reminiscent of Mario Kart. A lot of fun. Yeah, really enjoyable game. On free. So what else have I been playing? I've been playing Hogwarts. I've been playing Wolong. I've been playing a little bit of Fortnite with you, and you finished Shing yesterday, which is just an amazing game. I can't believe I picked up that game for $3. Just a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, I did love that game. I was kind of disappointed when it ended. I wish it was longer, and it looks like they might make a sequel. So if they do, I'm definitely going to be there for that. Umbra, how you doing? How's your week been? What have you been up to? What have you been playing?
Man, happy to be here. Welcome, Marc, for joining us. Thank you for joining us, brother. Yeah, man, I've been doing a bit of everything. You know, I had the Xbox Factory with Boom and the fellas the other day. Still working on my podcast, behind the scenes and stuff like that. And I got a bit more to do. And of course, Hogwarts has still had me on lock. I'm on the last achievement, and I'm about to get that actually in a minute. And I'll be done with that for now. Then I'll move on maybe to Wolong. I do have the Shing, by the way. By the way, shout out to KY Bob for putting it out there, because he was the first person to tell us about it. So I got it for that price too, Pete. I got it for $3. So that was a good deal. But I will note that I didn't get any invitations to join anybody in any Shing sessions or any kart racing They have been.
No.
Well,
what
just want to
friend
say that
abandonment
maybe if you
means.
weren't hiding offline all the time, we'd actually know you were there, bro.
Oh,
have-
Pete, don't even
You have to
start.
look for me like a treasure chest. It's how it works. No, but I'm happy to be here with you guys. I am definitely tired, but I'm happy to be here to talk with you guys. It's been a minute.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to try to keep the show down to like a 2-hour slot, especially on these pre-records that I'm going to overrun. So we'll jump straight into the first topic, which unfortunately for me has to be Starfield.
Starfield.
So Starfield got a release date. If you've been living under a rock, I haven't even got it pulled up on screen, but I believe it's in September. 6th of September, is that right? Is that correct?
It's 6th of September.
6th of September. So basically, Starfield got delayed, but we'll get into that in a minute because I'm sure that these guys want to gloat and they want some kneecaps. Because I definitely did not believe that Xbox would misunderstand the importance. And actually, it hasn't been that important because a lot of people have just been backing it up. But to me, Starfield it's a delay, dude. Straight up delay. It's their second delay, and I just don't think it's good enough. And I'm always going to be here to call that shit out. But a lot of people disagree with me. So, Umbra, I'm going to go to you because I know you want to run around do a couple of victory laps with my knees in hand.
What? Before in the green room, everybody, I was telling Pete, no, Pete, let's let Riskit keep his knees. But Pete was like bloodthirsty and was like, no, bro, he made the bet. We've got to keep it, mate. This is how it works. I'm like, Pete, calm down.
That's not what happened.
Listen,
That is not what happened. Oh my days.
Yes, to steal a quote from my buddy Pete. Yes. No, I knew we were going to be right ultimately. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be necessarily pushed into September. I still was on a late June thing, but I did kind of wedge my bet with saying it would be September as well. The bigger point was that it wasn't in the first half, which is what ultimately our bet was. So we won because of that, if you all are wondering. I'm good with it, man. I will take your kneecap. I'll take the right knee. Ultimately. And I kind of felt like something like this would happen. And I'm gonna tell you, since I thought it was already gonna be late June when it happened, 2 more months is minuscule to me for them to get the game up to standard that they wanted to get it to. So for that reason, I'm not bothered by this whatsoever. I'll be honest with you. It actually, when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, good. We got the date. It did nothing else for me. It didn't wow me. It didn't surprise me. The only thing that surprised me was that they kind of just dropped it like they did. You know, kind of came unexpectedly the other day. That was about it. Other than that, I was like, oh, okay, cool. We got the date. You know, I'll get my kneecap. And there we go. That was it for me. You know, I did see, I've seen mixed reactions. And I made a tweet about it, and I posted a clip from Mr. Matty Plays, who pretty much sounded almost word for word for me, like I talked about it. And you know, I did have somebody on there, a decent Xbox community member, who came in there and said and felt the way you felt, Risk, and were like, "Well, what's the roof? Like, what's the roof for this? How much do we allow before we like, hey, come on, like, how much time do you need, basically?" And I said, well, the roof is September 6th, apparently. Like, that's it. If they're saying now that's it, then, hey, if you go past that again and it's another delay, then I would be more like you, Risk. I think I would be much more volatile. And I don't think you're volatile, to be fair. I'll say I'll be more volatile than you even if it's another freaking delay. Because the first thing they told us was it was an ink. That was the first time. And then, nope, delayed until next year. And then now it's been 10 months. It's going to be 10 months by the time it releases that they've had time to work on it. So I think that Xbox themselves deserve smoke, but I would say within reason. That's the best way I can put it. Yes, they need to be called out for, or at least held up, I would say, held to account for making that 12-month promise, or commitment, which they should not have done. And, but just within reason. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not bothered by it that much. Specifically, I guess because we have so much to play. I guess that's really what softened the blow for me because there's too much to play right now already. So I would say, yeah, call them out, but within reason. Don't go overboard. That's the best way I can put it.
Yeah, look, I understand the point of view, and there's a lot of there's a lot of narratives that have come at me in the last, because I fervently was against even mentioning that there would be a delay prior to hearing about this delay, and the reason is because I know that Xbox listens. And especially the bigger accounts, the bigger boys, I just didn't like them talking about it in a way. It's like, yeah, it's cool if they delay it, like it was already going to be delayed, because Xbox is listening. They go to some of these shows and they do listen in, and if they're getting that signal that, like, okay, we need to delay it. Now, a lot of people will say that it's not going to make any difference, but it definitely doesn't hurt when they're making a decision, I don't think, personally. And there's plenty more that I've got to say on this before I carry on for an hour about what I think about Starfield. Marc, what are your thoughts about the delay? Where are you sitting? Do you think it was a misstep for Xbox to come out and give a 12-month window and then just completely shank it?
Wow, straight to Marc. Didn't even get to gloat. Wow.
You're coming up.
Go grab those kneecaps real quick. I'm here for the next 2 hours.
You can only handle so much, sauce at one time. You know
I'm just breaking it up. I'm breaking it up.
Personally, I don't. It doesn't really, like Umbra said, there's so much to play right now. It's really not that big of a deal. It's more of a big of a deal that they broke their word on it. You know what I mean? That's more of a deal. And I get it. Like, well, a developer, they can delay a game whenever they need to. I get that, but after one delay, and then you're saying it's going to be in the first part of the year, and then delay it again. Which my reasoning is going to lead to another conversation that we're going to have later in the show, if I'm looking at the notes correctly. So yeah, it's disappointing for Xbox fans who were just gagging for this game to come out real soon. But I mean, I get it; it is what it is. But like Umber said, man, there's just so much to play right now that it's not even really like high up on my super radar right now. So kind of glad they pushed it off a little bit. To be honest with you.
Yeah, look, I can also get down with that. I've heard that. I'm not going to call that a narrative because it is true. We got plenty to play. I still haven't even really stepped into Hogwarts yet. I'm still in Dead Space. I've been flat out busy. But it's as you said, it's more the point that they said something and didn't deliver once again. Jedi, I got to go to you, obviously, because you are bloodthirsty and want my knees.
No, honestly, look, I don't care, mate. I think you should be commended for actually going out there and, standing behind your words. I think a lot of people will just sit on the fence and won't actually, say anything. So I commend you on that, in saying that if this were the reverse situation, you would be coming after me. So I will take the W. The funny thing is when they announced the actual date, you know how you Americans do everything backwards because you're morons. It actually looked like it was coming out on the 9th of the 6th,
Yes!
the 9th of June. And when I saw the date, I'm like, oh shit, I'm never going to hear the end of it. Riskit's just never going to let this one down. But as it turned out, you guys do everything in reverse. And so it was actually the 6th of September.
All of our American viewers, please unfollow Jedi.
Look, so I have never been. Look, I would be a hypocrite if I were to say that I was not happy with this. I'm always in the belief that you release a game when it's ready. And although I get it, Microsoft broke their word. It's outside of that 12-month period that they said it was going to be. When Halo was delayed, I'm like, put the game out when it's ready. Get the game done when it's finished. There are so many games out there that are released broken, buggy. They're broken, buggy messes, and they never really live up to their promise because of that. The negativity just builds and builds and builds. And Bethesda are known for releasing buggy games. They're Bethesda for a reason. So, look, I'm very happy that they've taken the time they've needed. Now what I want to see from Starfield is a game that's playable day one, as little bugs as possible. We know it's going to still be buggy. It is a massively expansive open world game like all their games are. But like the less bugs, the better. I want it running at 60. I want it as close to 4K as possible. I want to see the power of the Series X. I think Starfield is one of the biggest release games that Xbox has put under their first party banner since Halo. This game, $7.8 billion they paid for Bethesda, and this is one of the big reasons for it. So I'm just hoping the game lives up to expectations. Riskit, I mean, look, mate, you were wrong. I'll gladly take. I don't know why I get the left kneecap. Just saying.
I like to be right.
yeah. Look, I'm
He
really
had
looking
that
forward
planned.
to the game.
That was planned.
Can't wait for the 11th of June where we get to see more. So I think it's a day before the actual Xbox showcase. It's getting a day all of its own. That suggests to me that this game is going to be something truly special.
Yeah, look, I completely agree with a few of that, and you bring up some interesting questions, and I've got a few questions that I want to ask everyone on the panel about this, and I want to go to Cutie, but just one thing you did say, and Marc did say, is there's a lot of games coming out, and if you look at the March slate of release, that's of course unless we get delays, it is absolutely stacked. Like there is like so much happening in this month. So, like, there's plenty to play. There's a fair bit in April, not as much. And, going into, there's absolutely games to play. That's never going to be my contention. Cutie, you obviously saw the news about Starfield, getting another. Look, that's one question as well. Is it a delay? Because a lot of people are saying it was targeted. But look, we're going to call it a delay. What were your thoughts on Microsoft sort of missing that mark? Do you think they missed the mark, or you don't think it's a delay? What are your thoughts on it?
I think the showcase when they said these games are releasing in the next 12 months and they just one after the other after other big games, I was skeptical on whether Starfield would be actually completed within that time frame. And because I set myself in that mindset, I'm not outraged at all. Not only because there are so many games to play this year. I'm also the busiest I've ever been this year in my own personal life because I go out and touch grass, guys. Come on, get a life. Honestly, you guys are fighting over something so ridiculous, and I'm getting. There are so many takes out there. This is not me fence sitting. I actually am very comfortable in my position, and my position is I saw the gameplay. I saw in that teeny tiny little snippet that we had, I saw the massive jump in the graphics, the improvement in gameplay, what it actually looked like. People like zoomed in and, rendered it so it looked a lot clearer. And I was like, that looks so good. I honestly cannot wait to play this game. And whether it comes out in June, whether it comes out in September, I couldn't care less, Riskit. I really couldn't. And that's not me fence sitting. That's me saying I'm comfortable as a gamer where I'm sitting. And they missed a target. And that happens all the time. This is not the longest delay. They really care about this game. It's going to take this amount of time. And, Todd Howard said in the video, he did say, it's a deep bucket. There's a lot to put in this game. And, probably he just wants to do it justice. And look, I'm not going to fault the man for it. And you know what? Anyway, who cares? Who actually cares that Xbox said in the next 12 months we'll release this game, and then they didn't hit it, but they've hit it with the other games so far outside of that game. You know what I mean? That's where I see it.
I do know what you mean. But as someone who's been with Xbox for about 20 years, I've been let down way more than once. I had a whole generation of being let down, a whole generation of bullshit. 360 gen was great. First gen was great. And then we're coming off the back of Xbox One, where we basically, and I know they've changed the rules on YouTube, but I'm going to say it, we basically got fucked over as gamers. And then we've been promised, from the start of this generation, we've been promised 4K, 60 FPS, we've been promised ray tracing, we've been promised this, we've been promised that. We've had Halo released to just absolutely snap both of its legs. Like, it's it's just Xbox it's still the same Xbox as Xbox One. I haven't seen anything this generation yet. Like, it's hard evidence. I've heard plenty. I haven't seen anything that shows me that they're different, aside from them acquiring studios. And I've lost my trust. I do not trust them now. Anything they say, I don't trust. A lot of people will say to me, "Oh, you should never have trusted them in the first place." I don't trust them now. Like, you know, literally, you got two of the heads of Xbox standing out there saying, "This is our next 12 months." There's 14 games off that list that hasn't been released. 14. That's not a small number.
We're only in the third month of the year, Riskit.
Cutie.
Yeah.
How many months until June? Because that's the 12 month. That's the 12-month mark.
No, I understand. I understand that.
Yeah.
But this is what I'm saying. You watched that showcase and you were like, "Oh my god, all these games are going to come out." And honestly, I took it with a grain of salt, darling. I really did. And unless you're going to go out there and, like, you know, not play Xbox anymore, like, I
Why
don't
did
know.
you take it with a grain of salt, Cutie? Why didn't you take them at their word?
Because I'm used to men lying to me, Pete.
Oh,
Wow, that was super breathy too. Super breathy.
Believe that. She believes that deep inside.
So hang on a minute. So Sarah Bond was out there talking to used women lying.
She didn't say 12 months. I didn't see Sarah say 12 months. She was like, okay.
No,
Okay, Phil.
she literally said 12 months. I can bring that up on screen now. She goes, "These are the games you'll be playing in the next 12." Probably did, because that's what she does. Reads off teleprompters. But look, there's a lot of narratives going on out there. You know, like, a lot of the narratives are like, "It wasn't delayed. It says targeted at the bottom of the thing." Both Sarah Bond and Phil Spencer stood up there and said 12 months. This is what you're playing in the 12 months. You know, a lot of questions. Like, a delay doesn't guarantee that Starfield's going to drop and not be broken. This doesn't, like, make it 110% ready to rock and roll. Like, it could drop and still be broken. So is that the line? Is that the line that we draw? Or is it a third delay? Is that the line? Or is 30 FPS, it drops without a 60 FPS mode? Is that the line? Like, where's this imaginary fucking line that a lot of these guys have that they're not going to call out Xbox on until we get to that line? Or do you just keep pushing that line back until you say something? Like, to me, if you say you're going to do something, then you damn well do it. And if you don't do it, I'm going to call it out. That's just how I've always been like that. I'll never not be different. And I'll never back down from a fight, because that's just the way I am.
My problem with it, Riskit, more than anything else, is it's a self-owned by Microsoft. It didn't need to be done.
Exactly.
This 12-month barrier that they gave themselves, that they put on themselves, that they were so, you know, they pushed that narrative so strongly at the beginning of the show.
Do you think? No, I don't think
need to
They
be there.
had to though, Peter. Yeah, they had to.
There was so much pushback. They were like, "Nothing's coming out. Where's your first party games? Come on, Xbox." And then you're saying, hold on. So you're saying that the consumers that play, the gamers play these games, they know lots about games, they push it back at Xbox saying, "We want more games, we want more games." And they're like, "Okay, this is what we are." And Phil didn't say this specifically. This is what they wanted to release in the next 12 months. Some of them haven't hit it. And now you're like, "Oh, you're not releasing all of the games that you said you would."
No, he did specifically say that.
I don't think that show would have been better off or any worse if they didn't put that 12-month period as a self-own before they did it. I really don't.
I don't think it was necessary for them to say it either. But people still probably wouldn't have been satisfied if they didn't put a time frame on it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but then you rock up, then you roll
dates when they're ready to be given. The dates didn't need to be there at all.
Yeah, Mark, you were going to say that.
I'll ask this. Yeah, go ahead, Mark. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. They like what Doom is saying is they absolutely had to, and you have to look at it from a multifaceted, because Riskit, you brought it up. So 2013, Xbox has been pretty crap all the way up until now. It's been pretty crap on games. They had to do something to keep people strung along, to give them hope that something's coming. So I mean, in the long term, is it going to really, like, I mean, a lot of people we've talked about the last time I was on our show, we talked about how how they have worn out the patience of their audience. You know what I mean? So they've kind of worn out their welcome, and they have to start delivering. And so when that's why, like, with you getting upset or angry about it, it makes sense, because you're one of those people that they told you this is coming, it got you hyped up, and they didn't fulfill. They dropped the ball again. So hopefully, like I said, they don't delay it again. But what basically what I'm saying is Doom's right. They had to do it. They absolutely 100% had to.
I like you,
I
Mark.
feel like they had to say something, but I think
Yeah.
they shot them like Pete said, it's their self-owned because I don't think they had to say 12 months. I think they could have said, this is what we have coming, all aiming for the next 12 months. It's not, some might slip. They could have done something of that nature. They could have said, well, these are the games we know we're trying to launch within this time frame, but you know, I don't know.
Yeah, and
Maybe
the
if they
over
could have taken
delivering
some
that
caveat to it.
Yeah, and the
Mhm.
over delivering that
Caveat.
they've been doing by dropping
right.
GoldenEye, by dropping games like Hi-Fi Rush, which have been incredibly successful, I don't think they really needed to push that 12-month narrative, and they shot themselves in the foot. There was no need to do it.
They
Yeah,
definitely shot themselves in the foot. But I will say this: what exactly did we not get so far within the time frame right now? Because we're in March. It's March. We're in the first beginning stages of March. So I think the only two games that we know that have been pushed back has been Forza and now Starfield.
well,
Forza might slip into
Yeah,
2024
in
for all we
saying
know.
that, they are massive games to slip out of the 12-month period. I would say out of everything announced, they would be in the big two. So I don't want to downplay it because Starfield and Forza are what you come to Xbox for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
yeah,
But
okay.
I'll
So if
point
you
out
want to know
though
what
that
we haven't got, I can tell you what we haven't got.
yeah,
We haven't got Frontier. We haven't got Arc 2. We haven't got Ereban. We haven't got Ravenlock. We haven't got Last Case of Benedict Fox. We do have a date for it. We haven't got Cocoon. We haven't got Replaced. We haven't got Flintlock. We haven't got Stalker 2. We haven't got Iridan Chronicles 2. We did have a date for it. We haven't got a date for Forza Motorsport. We haven't got Starfield. We haven't got
Hollow Knight.
Aria. We haven't got Hollow Knight. There's a whole slate of there's over 14 games that they announced.
some of those
You
I
should-
can't put exactly on Xbox. Third party is kind of hard to say, well, this is your fault, Microsoft. You see what I mean? That's why I say it's
Yeah.
kind of tough to put that on them. Now, yeah, they put it into within a 12-month thing, but that slipped out of there. That's nothing Microsoft can do about that if it's third party.
Well, they
people
cannot put it
developing.
in a 12-month
That's
release.
why they shouldn't have. That's why they shouldn't have done the 12-month thing. Like that goes back to that, right? But my whole thing is like third party or dates not matching up because devs need to do more. It's just kind of out of their hands. So hamstringing themselves by saying 12 months, that is what they should not have done, and I hope they never do it again. But those games, a lot of those games can actually land before the first half is up. Actually, the only one I think won't is Stalker 2, but we know the situation out there, and it's
Yeah. I
extremely
don't think Stalker
dire.
2 should
Like
even be mentioned, really. It's not
exactly, that's
none of
not
their
even
fault.
something worth.
Yeah,
Exactly, I'm not even
Forza's
worth
not
throwing
making
it
that
under me like
12-month
that.
period. Forza ain't
Yeah,
making that 12-month period either.
yeah, absolutely. That's hitting in the fall at the very least,
Unless
if not.
unless they have I don't know, unless they've pushed Starfield back for Forza. I don't know.
No, that Starfield is set.
Nah,
That's done.
yeah. Forza's not
And it,
making it. I can see Forza releasing like when it always releases. I think they
Yeah,
usually
we
drop it
talked about
October,
this. Yeah.
November. It's a good time for it to release. It's going to be their big Christmas under the tree seller. Always sells incredibly well. I don't think they needed to do it. They have games like Redfall coming out. I'm incredibly excited for that. Hi-Fi Rush. Yeah, maybe they thought it wasn't going to be as big as it was, but wow, that game was done. Was announced the way it was announced and the way it took the gaming world by storm. And Umbra, you can speak more to this. You finished it
I
5
love it.
times.
I love
It destroyed Forspoken. Absolutely destroyed a game that had been heavily
Marketed and
publicized by
everything.
Sony
Yeah.
as basically a first party game, like all Square Enix games now. So look, I like the way that Xbox really dropped GoldenEye. I like the way they dropped Hi-Fi Rush. The Phil Spencer interview that he just did with Xbox One said they're getting more games like this. I hope that they do that. I think that's a really good way and a really fun way of dropping games.
Yeah, look,
I will I'll say this. With the news, okay, so if you're a news reporter, you are commenting on the situation at present. Now, I can 100% believe that Phil Spencer or who the team that wrote his words, definitely thought at that
Sacrilege. Phil writes
time.
all his own words.
Pardon?
he writes all of his own words. But yeah, you go.
Okay. No, that's fine. Well, I don't know who writes his script. Jesus, guys, come on. At that time, and according to you know how schedules work. Meeting deadlines and all that kind of thing, project managing that kind of thing. And he is a massive project manager. They probably said, "Yep, we're set to release in the next 12 months. That's what we've set to at the moment." And
Yes.
XYZ things have happened obviously between the showcase and now. So I mean, I don't think Phil Spencer lied. I don't think
No,
he did.
no, but
I
what
think
you're
he was just
It's that out.
reporting on
Yeah.
the evidence he had then.
yeah, but what you're saying is he's incompetent, because that's exactly what you're saying. Because you just
How?
said
I wouldn't
that
call it that.
we know how these things work. So you better believe that he should know how these things work. And
No,
then they
I didn't
shouldn't
say that. You're putting words in my mouth now.
and then they shouldn't be given a 12-month date, because he knows as a project manager or as a massive project manager that things go wrong. And it's one of those things in this industry that happens quite a bit. This is a narrative that I've heard like a few times. It's not just coming from you. And it basically puts it back on them. Like, if we know that things happen and there's going to be delays, then they should know that things happen and there's going to be delays. And then what does it lead you back to? They shouldn't have given a 12-month release window.
What's he gonna say? Oh, guys, look, these are the games I think are gonna come. Like, come on, you guys were begging. You guys, look, I'm really not sure what's going on, but here's some cool games. Here are the trailers. Bye. Like,
I
what,
think
you know what I mean?
I get you, and this is why I said they just shouldn't have said 12 months.
I
I
know,
don't know
but you
how
guys
they
were
how they
so
could have better worded it.
forceful.
Well,
You
I
guys
wasn't
were
like I wasn't super thirsty. Like, you better do this. They did need to do
You were
something.
like, do something,
There,
shoot your
there,
shot,
you absolutely
Xbox.
correct. Well, they absolutely had to do something. That's where I agree with. That's where I agree with you, Mark. You and Mark on that. 100%. They had to do something at that point. We know that. All of us know it. Like, you're right there, right? I just think that when they put the 12-month thing on there, they pigeonholed themselves. They should not have put the 12-month. And we, all of us, a lot of people actually said it when he said that. Like, you shouldn't have said the 12-month, because a lot
It's
of us
true.
thought it was going to be that thing. It was going to be the case where something's going to be delayed. Look at the track record. The track record speaks for itself with these delays that they've had, and it's not their fault that those delays are happening. It's just the fact that you put that tag on it and you said, "Hey, this is what you're going to expect." So I can't blame anybody if they feel they can't trust them anymore. I am not in that boat. I don't feel like I don't trust them, because I understand that these things were. I kind of felt like they weren't going to get all those games within the 12-month thing anyway.
So you didn't trust
I
him.
just thought it was. I just thought it was too ambitious. I'll put it to you like that. I thought it was too ambitious to make that statement and stand by it. I was hoping that they could make it, but I'll say this: I'm not so upset. I'm not. I've been consistent on my thoughts about Starfield and Riskit. We've had back and forth on it. We've been in spaces about it. All of that, and my stance has not changed one bit. I have stayed on. Let the devs get the time they need to get the game right. I have not changed or wavered once. So this right here, and I had it already set for late June. 2 months after that does not bother me whatsoever for them to polish this game to high heaven. And it's like Pete said, it's like Mr. Matty Plays said, we already know about the Bethesda. We're trying to get to the Bethesda. Show us the best of the best that this game can be. And Cutie was right too. The game does look better from what we could see on the little gameplay in the background. It looked, I dare say, 60 frames per second ish.
I
That's
think
it.
there's going to be an option. I reckon.
I think so now.
Yeah.
Actually, it did look like it. Honestly, it did. It looks very smooth. From what we could see, it looked sharper. It looked cleaner.
Is that the line? Okay, cool. So that's cool.
If it's
the
a
line?
drastic improvement in the 60 frames per second, yeah.
No. If it drops and there's no 60 frames, it's only 30
That's
FPS.
going to be an
It's
issue
only
for
30
me.
frames.
That's going to be a
If it's
very
still only
big
30
issue for me,
frames,
and I think it's
yeah.
going to be a very big issue for
He wanted
everyone within the community.
He wanted it in 30 frames because he wanted it to look like Interstellar.
Cinematic.
I think that is very much a management position because they weren't able to hit it. I really do believe that.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I think they were just content. I said that before.
And
actually. I
maybe
said, I
they're
think they
taking
were
everyone's
content
feedback
with
and
that.
saying,
At,
guys,
at
probably
the end
need
of
to
the
make it
day, Todd
60.
Howard plays all his games on PC where he gets 60. You know, I just don't believe that 30 frames a second nonsense for a second. I really, really
Mark,
don't.
I'm definitely going to go to you, Mark.
I lean on you on that. And I was just going to say before Mark go, I said that before, Pete. I said that I think the 30 frames per second thing that Todd Howard went to is just because he doesn't feel that their engine, the creation engine, can get to 60. I think
agree.
that's what it was.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was just testing the waters. Mark, what do you think it was? And Pete, you make a good point. He plays on PC where he can get 60 at any time he wants. So, Mark, you think he was just testing the waters to see what the community would respond like?
No, I don't. Okay, and this is gonna tie into your later discussion. You want to wait till then?
No, go, let's roll.
Okay. So there is a large disparity, and I'm an Xbox fan, and so any of your fans that want to hate on me for what I'm about to say, I'm sorry. There is a huge disparity between the X and the S. And to prove my point, within this podcast, Peter even said he wants to see what the X can do at its highest, right? At its best. Those are not the same console. They don't have the same memory bandwidth. They don't have the same memory speed. So games are harder to develop for the S. So that's going to limit what you build on the X. It just is. And so I'm thinking he shot for 30 because that's what they can get on the S. Personally, that's what I think. That's why he shot that
only
shot.
capable of getting 30 on the S, and that's fine. I mean, that's why you buy a premium console. That's why you buy the X. There are other games.
Yeah,
that
but that's why I think that he quoted the 30 frames. Personally.
Yeah, and look, we know since then he's had a conversation with the actual developers, the engineers of the Series X, and the Series consoles in general, and I think that's really helped the development of this game. I'm hoping that all of that comes to fruition and we get as close to, native 4K as possible at 60.
I think that's what it was. I think the polish all this time, not just for bugs and glitches, it's really been to get the frame rate up to 60. And I think if you watch that trailer that they just launched, or that announcement, whatever you want to call it, like Cutie said, if you look at those clips right there, and I think Colt did a good job of zooming in too, if you look at his video on it.
Yeah.
It really does look like they sped up and got the frames right. It does not look as clunky as it did when they first showed it. It looks way better.
Yeah, this is the thing. There's no guarantee, though, is there?
No, but do you think it looked better?
Going to be incredibly important.
Riskit, come on, it did look better.
I think it's too hard to tell.
Better.
I mean, we're looking at a screen, watching another screen.
I know.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying is, you're even seeing that, and it looks better. You know what I mean?
Okay, and what was that being played on? Is that being played off an X, an S, a PC? We just don't know. I mean, we're speculating. We really need to see more about what this game is capable of, and I don't think we're going to get there till June 11th.
June 11th. That's when we'll see it.
Gonna be great.
I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Well, look, that's a 100% a good point, Pete. He could have been using a dev kit. There was a bit of argument about that, whether he was actually on the dev kit. But if you're sitting in front of a dev kit, why wouldn't you be using that to play the game? I thought that was a bit
I saw that tweet, by the way.
Yeah.
No,
that was a bit of a weird take. I was like, yeah, he definitely pulled in the Xbox to port the game over to Xbox to play it. That is just a weird take. But Mike, I guess if you want to jump into that,
weird take off Twitter. Wow. Okay, wouldn't have expected that.
You'd go to Riskit page for that, right?
Oh
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If you want facts, that's where you go.
I did. Riskit, I really like it when you talk in the camera. It's nice.
If you want facts and honesty and genuinism and non-shilling, that's where you go. Look, before we move into the next topic, we'll say, guys, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're doing pre-records every second week, and this is that week. Next week we will be live, and we will see you all then. But we should be in the chat premiering this week, talking to you guys, if I get everything right this week. But yeah, moving down to that topic, and then we'll jump back to the other big one for the week. But Digital Foundry said the Series S is holding back the Series X. He's talking about Baldur's Gate. Pete does believe, exactly like Mark just said, as we were talking about earlier in the week, that there is a memory issue. Like, we can't. Look, I'm going to get cancelled by the Xbox community. Yeah, it stands to reason that if you have a weaker console, it's going to be harder to develop for. However, what Digital Foundry is asking for or saying is that they should let parity go between the two consoles. So when you talk about features, so not talking about graphics, not talking about frames per second, but talking about split screen or local co-op, which is split screen anyway, or things like that are features within the game that are part of the core gameplay. They have to have parity between the Series S and Series X. That's a mandate by Microsoft, and there's no other way you can do it. You can't take that parity away. If you take parity away, then what's the point of buying the S? You're not only getting a weaker console, then you're not getting the same game. You should be getting the same game. So I don't believe they can take that parity away. And I do look whether it's right or wrong. There's a lot of talk about tools, and that's absolutely true. But you have to fucking use them. And this is why I talk about a mid-gen refresh, and I believe that it's a possibility, is because the tools aren't being used. The software solutions aren't being used. Mesh shaders isn't being used. And because it's not being used, they're not getting that extra overhead that raw power would give you. And I think that seems to be the only option this generation. I'm sure towards the end of the generation, we'll start to see some of that stuff being used. But I mean, I think it's sort of a lesson for the next console. Don't worry about, well, obviously you still have to worry about your architecture, but worry about your architecture, but make sure you give those developers as much raw power as you think they're going to need, in my personal opinion. And I think that's the possibility. It might be the possibility of why we see a mid-gen refresh, at least for the S. Mark, I did want to go to you because you had a little bit to say on this. You obviously do believe that the S is holding back the X, and I think it's a reasonable assumption, but the reasons for it are nuanced.
Yeah, I 100% think it is. And so you're saying a refresh for the S specifically?
Yeah, well, look, I think if it's going to happen, it'll likely be the S that sort of launched. It's a good way to dip your toe in the water if you're Microsoft, right? You launch the S, then you go for that refresh. See how that goes. If people are down for the refresh, maybe you refresh the X. I don't know, unless PlayStation pushes the refresh, in which case I think that they'll just go all in. But yeah, S.
So that for me, okay, like I said, this may piss some of y'all off too. I'm not trying to be that guy today. But with the S, they really painted themselves into a corner. Okay, when they wanted that you had to have parity on it, and you just said clearly that they should be the same game on both. Okay. If you look at their specs, these are vastly different consoles. They're not going to be the same game. So either you're going to lessen one game to get it to play on one, or it's just going to be as good on the lowest console, and then maybe try to upscale, just upscale your resolution. That's all you're going to get out of the two of them. I don't see any other way around it. They've painted themselves in a corner. Secondly, because they've sold more S's than they have anything else. What does that say to those customers that hey, I'm sorry that, we're gonna have to do a mid refresh to get another console for you because, it's just not cutting the mustard compared to the X. It was just kind of a weird deal. You know what I mean? They shouldn't have, I still don't think they should have put out two consoles, period. It was just kind of silly.
I think it's a smart move. Umbra, I'm going to jump to you where you think the Series S was a mistake. I mean, if you're talking about not developing for the Series S, Mark, or was it was a mistake? I mean, we're still developing for the GTX 1650 or the Radeon 5000.
But they don't have the memory bandwidth problems that the S does.
Well, that is true. That is
so
true.
Okay. For example, I just watched a video on Dragon Age. Okay, so in Dragon Age, has everyone played Dragon Age before? Inquisition.
I have.
So when you go to sprint your horse, they didn't have enough memory to actually make the horse sprint. They couldn't render fast enough because the memory wasn't there to render fast enough. So they just put streamers along the horse and it moved at the same speed, but you thought it was sprinting. It's the same problem. You can sit there and say, "Oh, I can just turn a knob and just downscale it." You can't. If it can't render fast enough for you, it's going to limit what you can create. Period. It just is.
This is my thing on it. And it seems to be where there's smoke, there's fire. I do kind of live by that theory. But there are a couple things that don't quite fit. So typically, the really real reason why people kind of go with the whole thought that the S is holding back anything is because a few devs came out and said it, right? I don't think anybody we can specifically track outside of that one guy who seemed to be an Xbox hater, by the way. So, and you had Digital Foundry, some of them are Xbox haters, by the way. Linneman, we see you. The thing is that the Series S is still the next gen console. Risk, you mentioned what's the use of an S? It's super cheap, super affordable to get into next gen gaming. If you want to be a digital gamer like myself, digital master race, even better, especially if you're a Game Pass subscriber. It definitely has its merits for why it should exist. The S can run over 80, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if last I remember, 80 games at 60 and 120 frames per second. More 120 frames per second games, by the way, than the PS5. So the biggest issue typically that they ran to was memory. If you all don't remember, though, that was the thing that they talked about, the memory. But they actually boosted the memory, Xbox, some months later, and they gave them another development kit, if you all don't remember that. So it allowed, more freedom for these developers and things of that nature. So that, to me, I think it's just the scapegoat. It's the easy scapegoat to say, well, it's the S. It's the S. I think it's either complacent devs, and I can't quite say that. I just think it's a bit of complacency. Like, oh, we have the PS5, which is what they're typically, by the way, it's the leading platform that they're going to port games from. So if you have to make adjustments for a weaker S in whatever relative way because of the memory, for instance, and the visual prowess that only hitting the max of 1440p, then yeah, you're gonna be like, it's the S that's doing it. And I think that's why we've had so many issues when it come to the Xbox Series X or S underperforming sometimes compared to the PS5. Because the PlayStation 5 is the leading platform. So here's another thought I had. They would say, well, the S is holding back, but then what about PC? What about PC gaming? So you still have to account for lower SKUs on the PC, but you never hear them talk about the PC in the same way. Was that they'll try to, put the scapegoat on them as far as a lower setting PC that can run the game. It's always Xbox. So it's kind of hard for me to take it serious because I know how skewed the media is toward Xbox. It seems like it could be the case, and memory is typically the thing people point to, but I don't know. It's hard to
Mm.
really say that for any real factual way that I can believe it's just that, especially with them improving on that thing. And then people will point to, I saw one of the mentions was, well, what about Halo? Couldn't do a split screen. People forget that was also cross gen. So if anything held it back, it was last gen. So, and by the way, Halo had way more issues with that engine that they were using that I wouldn't even account to any specific platform. So I think it was a mixture of things for that too. So I don't know. It's tough to say. It
Yeah,
really is
look,
tough to say.
there's definitely a problem with the amount of memory that the Series S has. The GPU is the same. The CPU is the same. That was very important. They wanted to
They're
in order
similar.
to
They're
have the
not the
same
same.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're very similar. I
Yeah.
don't think the CPU is causing the problem, but the GPU is enough to run games at the targeted 1080p, 60, which they were going for. The problem definitely is the memory, that the allocation. So I think the X has 16 with two, a little bit more than two dedicated to the operating system, and the S has 10. So when you all add up, it has less than 8 to actually give to games. That is definitely a problem. It's the reason why Microsoft allocated more memory, just recently, because the developers were having an issue with this. If this does look, Digital Foundry are completely wrong. There needs to be parity within next gen games, otherwise this is a massive fail for Xbox. I disagree with you, Mark. I think the Series S, if they can get it to work, and it's an incredibly smart decision to have this console, that entry level console that can get you 1080p, that can that you can play next gen games. I remember at the start of the generation, people were saying, "Is the S as good as the One X?" It is as good, and it is actually much better. When you think about it, Umbra, you're right. The amount of 120 frames per second games on there is actually more than the PS5. So that is really, really good. They need to work out this memory problem. They need to work with the architects of the actual console and get what they can out of this console. Now, I don't know. I know there are RDNA features that they can use, like sampler feedback. That is incredibly important. It greatly improves the memory efficiency by allowing games to load into memory fine granular. I'm just reading here. Only the portions of textures the GPU needs for the scene. So things like that. Things like direct ML, which is a machine learning thing. So they need to implement these RDNA2 features that are gonna improve the memory capabilities of the console. Now, this was all worked out by the architects when they first designed the system. Now, I don't know if it's an optimization problem, Umbra. I don't know if you're right, because they're still developing for last generation games, and therefore they're not pushing the boundaries of the series consoles. I don't know what it is, but whatever the case may be, Microsoft needs to solve it. There needs to be parity within next gen games, and they need to do it sooner rather than later.
Absolutely.
One thing I want to add to this, and I said this on Booms, and I forgot about it too.
Pete, you're fading back.
Yeah. One of the thoughts I had too is just to say, and I'm just to wrap it up really quick. I think that if anybody is going to solve that, like Pete said, it has to be Microsoft. And what I mean by that is their first party is going to have to show the capabilities of both the S and the X. Period. We see that with PlayStation. PlayStation is great at it, where their first party titles will showcase exactly what that, like for instance, the cell shading, the cell architecture, and all of that. Remember that nonsense?
Mhm.
They will use their first party titles to showcase what that platform is capable of. Xbox has to do that. They have to leverage it, like Pete said, and say, hey, these are what all the tools can do to make this specific, ridiculously beautiful, crazy, insanely open world game. And the S can do this, and X can do it, and the S can might not hit 4K obviously, but it can definitely get 60 and 120 frames per second. It can definitely look just about as pretty, and they can do whatever tricks they can to beautify it. They need to be the ones to actually push the envelope, because I think since the PlayStation is the leading platform, these third-party developers have no incentive to make their game look as great, and they don't have the time really either, or maybe even the money to push it as much on other platforms such as Xbox and the Series S in particular. So it's got to be up to Microsoft to really do that.
Yeah,
And Riskit made a very good point to me the other day that once that's actually done by first party, they can then pass on the knowledge to third party developers and work with them in order to, actually get the best out of the consoles
point.
as well.
Yep.
Limiting the time that the third parties need to actually, work out the systems and stuff.
Yeah, I think they need to build a bigger strike team. They've already got a team that comes in and helps out their first party and third party developers, and they've got a whole studio dedicated to cloud. I mean, these two studios need to combine and work. I mean, and it's a possible solution, having some of this stuff streamed in the cloud. I mean, Cutie, you've got an S. I've got an S. I'm pretty happy with how it runs and the way it plays. Some of the games on there are almost parity with the X anyway. Cutie, what do you think of your S? I mean, are you hating it? You can throw it in the street and burn it. Well,
You know what?
Bash.
I will say when I did, obviously I was in a situation where I didn't have a choice, so I had to play on my Series S, which was kindly donated to me by the ANZ Xbox team, which was amazing of them. Um, I I l- I did feel the memory change. I really did. It was significantly limiting to me. Um, However, at the moment, I'm only playing really one game at a time. So what you can do is I've had to purchase an external memory And what I do is I basically only ever have one game actually sitting on the console, because that way there's more space on the console, and it works better for me. And it's
Well, you only
something
have
that
one game downloaded, you're saying, at a time on the system?
no, so I have an external hard
Mhm.
drive, and I have all of the games on that external hard drive. It's 2 terabytes.
So you
Mhm.
just
And
move it
then
over whenever. Okay.
yes, it doesn't take very long. But if I'm often only really playing one game at a time. I'm not switching through. And if I play Fortnite, I play on my computer anyway. So yeah, it's only an issue when like I load up Forza or something like that. But yeah, and it makes it work better. But I will say that last year, so I don't know if you guys know about the game development kit. Do you guys know about that Microsoft have?
The GDK, yep.
The
Yeah.
development kit. Yeah.
Yeah. So last year in June, they expanded the memory that our developers had for them to develop games for the Series S. So I do believe that they do understand that there is a memory issue there, and I think they are trying to empower devs to make it easier for them to develop these games. And I don't know, this take on Series S is holding it back. I feel like that's just game devs being lazy. If a console is being sold retail still, and I can go to Big W, I can go to JB or EB, wherever, and I can buy this console, the game that I buy for it, I should be able to play it on there. You know what I mean? Like if it's still being like wildly retail sold, then they need to develop games for it, and it sounds lazy to me, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean they did. I think it was around August this year. They expanded the memory. I think the exact quote was hundreds of additional megabytes of memory are now available to Series S developers. But when you're talking about hundreds of megabytes, that's not a lot. Like,
No, but I think it definitely makes a difference.
oh yeah,
Like,
every little bit counts.
and it does say like I've looked through the advertisements for the Series S, and it does say at the at the very bottom, it's like often the Series X FPS boosts come later after a game's released, or it says a pending release on Xbox Series S, or whatever. So
Yeah.
often the patches make a big difference to the games.
Yeah, well, absolutely, it is optimization. There's plenty of things they can use to give the Series S parity. They're just not using
But
them
I
at the
don't
moment.
feel like
so
I've missed out, to be honest.
no, I don't
When
think so either.
when I play on it, I don't feel like, oh, this is really bad. Like I've played on a PS4 compared to a PS5, and there's a much bigger difference there.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely,
No, well,
absolutely.
So would you all care for them to take away a feature? Like, I mean, like if you get an S, right? I guess it probably is a casual. Would casuals probably even be as like, you know what I mean, affected
Yes.
by something like
Oh,
that?
that is a slippery slope. Don't even go there, bro.
Yeah.
No,
No,
Just one-
please.
this
Keep
just throwing
going.
it out
100%
there.
needs to be
Do
parity.
it. Let's go.
Just throwing it
Yeah.
out there. I just want to see what you all think on it.
you
That's all.
calling me casual?
That's a terrible,
No,
terrible
no.
decision. Look, what they need to do is use things like direct storage. It's the new
Yeah.
IO system specifically designed to to use the SSD and the
But
hardware decompression
honestly,
that gives
this
that's gonna allow for better asset streaming and things like that.
it
And
doesn't
the
fit
problem
inside the
is
box,
what
Pete.
Umbra yeah, and the problem is what Umbra said, because you're still developing for last gen games, you're not actually using these next gen features. But yeah, look, this is getting very technical. I think we need to move on.
Yeah, look, absolutely. And there are features in the box that they can use that they're just not using. It's feature set in the RDNA 2. Can be used for both consoles, for all consoles that they're just not using. And we always see at the back end of a console generation, games looking better, running better, and it just takes time, and that's unfortunate. But we will move on to the next topic. Before we do, guys, please hit the like button, subscribe. Hopefully I've got it right this week, and I am in the chat, chatting with everyone, saying g'day. And the next topic is something I want to riff off what Umbra was saying about how PlayStation games some of them seem to crazily run better. There's been a lot coming out from this ABK deal, and I know the guys are tired. They're like groaned when I added the topic to the topic list. But some pretty cool stuff has come out. One of the things that came out is PlayStation released the CMA released PlayStation's objections to the deal. And one of the things that they said, I don't think I added this to topics, but I just wanted to throw it in. something that Microsoft could do if they were to get a hold of Call of Duty as their franchise. And this is why they don't trust the deal. They said, thirdly, swiftly detecting any diversions, ensuring compliance and a commitment as to technical or graphical quality would be challenging. For example, Microsoft might release a PlayStation version of Call of Duty where bugs and errors only emerge on the game's final level after updates. Even if such degradations could be swiftly remedied, they would likely come too late, by which time the gaming community would have lost confidence in PlayStation as a go-to venue. And that sounds like they ripped that straight out of the fucking playbook from Sony. Like, literally, they're like...
Projection 101 is what
they're
it sounds like, right?
This is what we do. We don't want them to do it to us. And it's not the first thing that they've done. Like, oh, exclusives. Like, you do that shit. Like, we need parity. You do that shit.
Yeah.
Like,
There was a very good video by Destin Legary suggesting that everything that Sony is arguing against is what they already do. The reason they didn't accept the 10-year parity clause is because they don't have parity at the moment. They have a better deal. They're getting more revenue on the back of selling the same things. They have missions that are only available on PlayStation. They have cosmetics that are only available on PlayStation. Not only that, they have the marketing rights. So there's no parity at the moment. And what they're arguing for in court is, why they're arguing so much is because they're going to lose these benefits that they currently have.
yeah, and it's just absolute nuts. And then when you back it up, another quote that was released this week by Lulu. She's an absolute champion, that woman. She just really makes me smile daily. And a lot of people don't like her, but she's hilarious. And I wish we had more accounts like her where they could be more honest and open with communications. But she released this from a board meeting. So like Jim Ryan's exact words, Jim flying dance moves, fucking Ryan. I don't want a Call of Duty deal. I want to block your merger. That's his exact words. Like, that just shows you where they're at. Like, more and more that comes out about this deal, I just wonder how the CMA is like, this is looking bad, and the FTC and the EC. Like, I just wonder how they're not sitting there going, this is not just looking bad for PlayStation. Like, we're looking bad in this whole thing as well. We need to pass this ASAP. I mean, that's where I would be sitting if I had... and yet there's other stuff that's come out. It's been a big week for the ABK, I do have to say. Microsoft won their document request, so we're very likely to see all those exclusivity deals that they've got with third parties in the background. So that's going to be very interesting.
Assuming that they'll actually get a chance to show it to us and it's not redacted or some nonsense. Yeah, I would love
I
to see that.
can't wait. It'll be released, bro. Come on, man. They're not going to hide that
Very
from us.
interesting for sure.
Someone will leak it. It's going to
Man,
be
man.
a party, bro. I cannot
It's
wait for
gonna
Twitter that
be
day.
me. Yeah, no, I hope that happens, man. But no, Lulu is she's the shit, man. Lulu, I watch her tweets and stuff like that, and she doesn't play. She doesn't. As a boy said, he said, Ricky Bobby don't take no shit. Well, Lulu don't take no shit, and she gives just as good as she takes when it comes to that. With these articles, these journalists or whatever, writing what they write about her, and she, like you said, she dropped that bombshell risk in, what I'm guessing you're going to lead into that, by the way, because you didn't quite state that specific thing just yet. But she mentioned about what Jim Ryan actually said about the merger. Do you want me to leave that out until you mention it, or what?
No, I just said it, dude. Jim
Well,
Ryan's exact words were, I do not want a Call of Duty deal. I want to block your merger.
I must have blanked out, or I don't know what the hell I was asleep or something, because I missed it. But yeah, she called that out, and I had somebody actually trying to debate with me, and along with Nib, of course.
That's not a smart move, bro.
Yeah,
Debating with you. That's not a smart move, bro. Nob was debating with you. I mean, that guy has the IQ of a pea.
Hey, Nib was an intelligent guy.
He is an intelligent guy. He's
He'll
just a
throw all
shell.
these thesaurus. He's a bit of a shield, but he'll probably lobby that at me too. So it is what it is. But no, so I was talking when the guy came out and he said he put credible in quotation marks. This other guy that jumped in. Well, you're talking about credible news. I'm like, it's coming directly from Lulu Ching Messervy. You expect that she's not? You're saying that one of the top people of Activision is incredible.
She's in the.
That's what you're trying to say.
She was in the boardroom at the time.
Right.
Fuck.
And this guy claimed that she wasn't credible. I'm like, come on, man. Like,
This
stop
is the
it.
thing with Nib. He is very smart, and when he comes out with these incredibly ludicrous points, you just got to shake your head and say, where did you come up with that, mate? Because, yeah, he is very smart, and some of his takes I actually enjoy, but
Mhm.
some of them are just moronic.
He's a good dude, but I
Hi,
think
Nib.
he is. Yeah. I think he's
Unblock
so far
me.
entrenched into it. I know, right? He's so
Never.
far entrenched into it that what he will do is if he feels he's not getting you on his logic or whatever he's trying to shield about, he will start throwing super mega thesaurus words at you, and I'm just like, you know what? I did not do this to attend Cambridge all of a sudden.
Oh, and the,
I'm
the
checking out.
abbreviations where he starts abbreviating every damn word. But anyway,
yeah,
this is
50% plus
Look, there are some passionate
XSB. I'd
people
be
in the
like, what?
gaming industry. Very,
Yeah,
very passionate
he
people
loves
out
those.
there.
yeah.
He loves to abbreviate. You're right. No, you're not wrong about that. But no, my thing is, it's hilarious to see Sony. They look desperate. That's the funniest thing about the whole thing. They look desperate as hell. And the way it's playing out more and more, they look worse by each time we hear anything new about
Mhm.
it, So I would love for those documents to come and see the light of day. I absolutely would. I don't know how that's going to work out because the rumor is that, like I said, that it'll be redacted or it won't be shown publicly. But I really hope that's not the case. I hope it's like you all said, it's leaked or something, and we
Well,
get to see some of these things.
there is something that Microsoft responded to. They released in a statement saying that they could look. They conducted a survey. It was They didn't conduct it. It was commissioned by Microsoft. So Grey Monad, if you're listening, you're absolutely right. They did commission the survey because I disagreed with that earlier in the week. And it was commissioned by YouGov, shared by Axios. And only this is a survey of PlayStation players, and it says only 3% of all PlayStation users are likely to switch consoles in the survey. This is in the UK. If Call of Duty became exclusive to Xbox. Also, 10.5% of all PlayStation users they surveyed ranked Activision's franchise as one of their two favorites. Marc, do you think we'd see a mass exodus if we had, Call of Duty on Game Pass and you had to pay $70 on PlayStation? Do you think it would be a significant number, or do you think we're just sort of blowing it out? I honestly still have the belief that not that many people know about Game Pass really in the day to day.
No, I think that's going to be a pretty big deal to the people who play Call of Duty. A lot of people on PlayStation play Call of Duty here in stateside. They do. A lot of people have bought PlayStations just to play Call of Duty. So I think it's going to make it. I think it's going to be like an entire shift over. No, I mean, if you're a PlayStation person, more than likely you're going to buy a PlayStation and still just pay the $70 that you're already paying beforehand. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, Game Pass part of it. I don't know. I think everyone knows. Microsoft has done enough marketing that I think everyone knows that Game Pass is a thing. You know what I mean? Especially if it's going to the Switch and the Nvidia Shield, it's gonna be even bigger for them. So,
Well, you think they're going to put Game Pass on Switch and on Nvidia?
Yeah, that's the only way that the Switch is going to be able to play a Call of Duty game.
You believe that?
Through cloud.
Yeah, I do. It'd be streaming. Yeah.
I don't know about that. I think they'll be able to get some kind of native solution on there, even if it looks like pixels. I think there will be some kind of
Nope, I don't. Not at all.
Minecraft Call of Duty.
Not at all.
In regards to the survey that was done, now the survey that was done was most likely done by hardcore gamers that, if they've accessed. I don't think that they are going to leave PlayStation because they play PlayStation for games like Bloodborne, God of War, The Last of Us. I don't think that they would have, and I mean, all credit to Monad for fighting this because I think that this kind of flew under the radar. So thank you to him. But I do think that he kind of pushed that Like it made it more than what it actually was, because I think a lot of the people that won't do the survey will be the casuals that only play Call of Duty every year. Like, it is the only game that they actually play, and that will make a difference. So if they find out that they can get Call of Duty on another console, especially if you're still able to play with your friends on other consoles, I think it will make a difference. I think the figure will be higher than the 2 or the 3% quoted. I really, really do.
I don't know.
So with
I don't think people are going to. Sorry, Mark. I don't think they're going to be like, oh, okay, so I've played, Call of Duty on my PlayStation for, so long, and now it's free on Game Pass. I don't think that they're going to go out and buy a whole new console just to play it on, on Game Pass. That doesn't make sense.
That's where the Series S comes into play.
Oh, look,
Samsung
there was.
TVs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
right.
There was a study done by Dextero, and it was on Warzone, and they said that 42% played on PlayStation, 25% on Xbox, 28% on the PC, so and then 3% on mobile. So, I mean, the numbers are, I don't know, they're not really that significant to me. Like, if they lose people that playing on PlayStation, like, I mean, I don't
Do
know.
you
It's
think
not
they
that.
will?
Big
Do you
crowd,
think they
though.
will lose people that are playing on PlayStation? I mean, that's what the survey's alluding to, that only
Yeah.
2 to 3% of people actually transfer consoles to play it on another
I
console.
don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, the fact of the matter is, in 2018, 70 million people played this game, and then in 2021, 400 million. Like, really
No, I
massive.
don't think nobody's really dropping their platform. If
No.
you love PlayStation, you're not moving from it. If you love Xbox, you're not moving from it.
And the fact of the matter is,
Stop.
if you're a console FPS player, the positioning of the buttons and the trigger sticks, everything is going to really change your gameplay. Like, I really don't think they're going to. If you are, quite passionate about it, you're not going to change the controller, and the
No.
controllers are vastly
Okay.
different.
Absolutely.
Well, then
I
I'll pose a new
definitely,
question then.
I definitely believe. 2 seconds, sorry, Pete. I definitely believe
Yeah,
that if PlayStation players came over to Xbox, they would play better. That's a good point.
Oh.
I will pose a new question then. Okay, if you're not actually transferring consoles from PlayStation to Xbox, you're dedicated, then what about new players? What about new players that haven't bought their console? They're buying their first console. Will it make an impact on that? I would suggest that it would.
I don't think they're gonna slap Call of Duty on the box of their Xbox. Like,
Oh,
they're not
yes, they
gonna do
will.
that.
Oh, yes,
They
they
will.
Yes,
will.
they will.
It'll
No,
be
what? 'Cause it's on
absolutely
Game.
They
everywhere.
Look,
absolutely
no,
will.
They
it might
will-
be. It
They
might be on
will
their
have
Game
a
Pass
sp-
advertisements.
They will have a special edition console. Like, they're gonna.
Oh,
If you
don't
don't
even get me
Yeah.
started.
If you don't think they're going to celebrate from the absolute rooftops when they get it, they are going to. And if they don't, it's a
Oh,
bad
what?
move. But Mark, you were going to say before you were cut off there. My bad.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. No, they're PlayStation's more worried about, like, just like Umbra said and I said too, is if you're a Sony person, you're gonna stay with Sony. You don't buy a PlayStation just to play Call of Duty. For most people, there's a lot of people that do just play Call of Duty though. I'm not gonna deny that. And Pete's point, they're more worried about the money because they get a larger share revenue from Activision with the deal that they have with them. And once that deal's gone, they're going to receive, even though they'll be selling the same amount of games, they're going to be receiving a less amount of money than what they have been getting. And their big argument is now we won't have money to develop our own games because of Call of Duty. So
Yes.
their business model of just one fucking game carrying their entire company is so absurd. Like, financially, is covering the entirety of their other game development is just fucking absurd.
That's why I said,
They're
like,
still
every
gonna be
other
getting
thing we hear
30%.
from them, every other thing we hear from Sony has sounded not only desperate, but patently stupid, honestly. And you can see how desperate they are. Like, oh, we don't get Call of Duty, we can't fund our games. Like, stop it.
It
Nobody
shows how
believes that.
little the FTC and the CMA and actually know about the gaming space.
That's
Some
true
of the
too.
arguments they've had are
Yeah.
just absolute moronic, and I can't believe that these government organizations haven't done any due diligence. They basically looked at Microsoft's name, said this is a $70 billion merger, we just have to block it.
Pretty much. And I'll go further. I said it before. I do not trust any governing body. I don't care where you're at in the world. Everybody is susceptible to corruption. And
Moon landing
they
was
have
fake.
See,
Oh,
they have lobbying, right? Whatever you have lobbying, and they absolutely have lobbying in these regulators, by the way. And whenever you have that, it's just legal bribery. Nothing. I put it past nobody to be bribed. And I'm not saying it's only Sony doing it. I'm saying Microsoft could too. So I don't for 1 second believe they're just like, oh, this is just terrible for consumers. They don't believe that. They don't. You could tell they don't really believe that. If anything, they're probably slid a little money under the table to try to protest for Sony. The problem is though, the law isn't on their side. You see, that's the issue that they're having. So they don't really have any real leg to stand on. And then Microsoft has eased any real fears they had by releasing it on so many different platforms, Nintendo, Steam, you know what I mean? So that like Nvidia, GeForce, what do you have? And they got the offer out there for PlayStation. So they can't claim any real type of what's the word, foreclosure strategy that they were talking about. They can't claim that in really any real significant way.
I
That's the thing.
disagree with the premise that you're not going to be switching consoles, and I think the best point that I
Pete, we
could
moved
point
past
to is
this. You're up. You go.
the best point I could point to is the 360 generation. Call of Duty was synonymous with the Xbox. This is why you pay hundreds of millions of dollars to get marketing rights for these games, so people will buy your console. And then PlayStation 4, Call of Duty was synonymous with PlayStation, and it could flip again this generation. So it'll be owned half and half. I just disagree with the premise that people won't switch over.
Oh, I'm not saying people won't. I don't think it's going to be a mass exodus.
Won't be any significant numbers. That much is certain. Yeah, because people are set. Like, you're not going to pull me off Xbox being my preferred platform. Just like we're not going to pull any of our Hooved brothers off PlayStation. We just know it's not going to happen. They're too entrenched. You know what I mean?
Yeah. A big thing about that is because you want to play with your friends. But since Call of Duty's been opened up and you can actually play with your PlayStation friends and you can play with your PC friends, it does change it up somewhat.
And Discord is now available on PlayStation, finally.
Yes, it is.
And so you could still, that sort of removes the thing. But then we're talking from a hardcore gaming perspective, right? This is not, a lot of this stuff's not known by casuals. Like, they wouldn't be like, oh man, I've been waiting for Discord for so long so I can play Call of Duty with my Xbox mate. Nah, that definitely isn't like a common knowledge thing. I'm sure they advertise it and stuff, but some people won't even know what the hell Discord is. They're just playing Call of Duty, don't give a shit, and they're probably not going to move. I can completely agree with that. I think there'll be, it depends on what you class as significant, Is like 3 million significant?
That's a great point.
Yeah, is 10 million significant? Is 100 million significant? Like, all of that's money in the bank. Like, even if it's 20 people that move over, that's money in the bank. It's just how much they're willing to, offer $70 billion deal. I mean, 20 people move over, yay. But this deal's never been about Call of Duty for Microsoft. It's been about Call of Duty for PlayStation. But the deals, we know the deals. Like, very early on, we were talking about mobile. They got King. Like, they're the second largest developer of mobile games on the planet, on the fucking planet. So, like, insofar as revenue, that's what it's always been about. They don't have a space there. They don't have a presence there. Sorry, and then that's what they want. So,
I'll add that I think it's about both. King and of course Call of Duty. Microsoft absolutely, they might downplay it, but don't be deceived. Absolutely, Call of Duty matters to them dramatically so. And I had a debate with a guy again. It was Xbox guy about this some time back, and he was like, they can just get rid of Call of Duty, sell that off. I'm like, why would they do that?
Nah.
Why in God's name would they do that? And I said, that is a non-starter. A week later goes by. Microsoft, Brad Smith, he literally comes out and says, it's a non-starter. Word for word, it's a non-starter. I thought he read my tweet for a minute when I read it. He said it's a non-starter not to have Call of Duty as part of their package.
Yeah. No,
it matters.
You're not paying $70 billion for, to acquire ABK and then not get Call of Duty. That would be.
Nobody's doing that.
No one's doing that. No one.
But okay, so I know you got King, I know you got Activision, but you cannot forget about Blizzard. You just can't.
Oh,
okay.
It's
World of
PC.
Warcraft has 14 million. No, it's not even a PC thing. has 14 million subscribers. Now you put that on Game Pass on PC and console, you are literally just adding subscribers to Game Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
I mean, it's huge.
that's what she said. Look, it is.
What's the World of Warcraft?
You fucking
That
Riskit, you know
sounds
you have never
really-
heard that come out of a woman's mouth ever.
Sounds
Not
like
once.
a really, really bad game, this World of Warcraft nonsense. Never heard of it.
Unless she was
PlayStation
talking about
nonsense.
your
PC nonsense.
foot.
I was going to say his ego.
Look,
I know.
Oh,
that is a thing, definitely. Not only do they have World of Warcraft, you know, they've got massive games like Diablo 4 coming out, you know, the Diablo franchise. They've got some fantastic IPs. They've got Tony Hawk, they could bring that back. There's plenty in the stable insofar as IPs that they could bring back that are money makers. So yeah, you're absolutely right. The business as a whole, you're not paying $70 billion just for Call of Duty. You're not paying $70 billion just for mobile, even though I think that's one of their main objectives and has been from the beginning. But yep, they definitely want to have Call of Duty. I mean, it's cost. Then you dropping the deal down to like $30 billion. You know what I mean? Like if you're not getting Call of Duty, you're like, sweet, that that extra 40 is off the table. But look, we do have to move on. I don't want to sit on ABK for too long. People start going to sleep and shit. But before I do, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You can join us live every second week at 8 p.m. EST. I forget where we're at. We at 8 or we at 7? I don't know. 7 p.m. Around that
7 p.m. EST.
Around that time. Keep an eye
The clock.
on the channel.
So if you're subscribed, you should get the notifications anyway.
Yeah, it's time zones. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone struggles with them. I do pretty well these days. Anyway, moving on to the next topic, which is Luminous Productions has shut its doors due to poor this is just an opinion, due to poor performance of Forspoken. Not only that, Square Enix has sacked the CEO or the director.
No, he stepped down. There's a difference.
Oh, fuck off.
yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. They forced him to step down.
It pushed him off the podium, dude. Come on. Yeah, look, this is sort of sad. I don't like to see studios shutting down. I do love the salt that I saw online about. I mean, there's so many people on the PlayStation side capping for this game. There's probably a couple of genuine guys out there. I mean, we met one a couple of weeks ago from Gaming Nexus, and he genuinely liked the game. He's a poor, misguided soul. Lovely man. But like, it was just terrible on every front. The story was bad. The combat had no weight to it. Some people cited the traversal as being good. The traversal was buggy like it was ridiculously bad. Like you couldn't get up or on things. The bosses were terrible. The story was bad. The writing, the HDR was washed out to shit. The graphically, it was underwhelming. Resolution wise, it was hitting 720p at some points in performance mode. It was dropping frames. Performance. There's literally nothing good in this game. It is a massive bag of shit. Like, and I look, I'm sorry, like if that upsets people, but it's true. And
main character was gorgeous.
Yeah, she was that. Yeah, I mean, there was even
old lady she's modeled off.
Yeah,
gorgeous. So that's fair.
There was even some controversy about her backstory, like where it was really, I don't know what the word for it is, but just
stereotypically stupid.
Stereotypically stupid. Yeah, perfect. Like the fucking story, they had back and forth constantly of just stupid quips. The story was of the world, which is where you could really flesh it out. And I believe where the two great writers that worked on the game sort of came into it, we're all in text. Like they didn't flesh out the story of the world, through the characters. They did it in text. It's just design choices. The whole thing was terrible. But it's always, and now that I've really dunked on Forspoken, it's always terrible to see a studio shut down. It's a sad thing. You know, because you never know, the next game that they drop might have been like just an absolute banger. So I hate to see studios folding down. We need more studios, not less. So we've got more opportunities to see more, you know, different types of games coming from different places. So it sucks. It really sucks. As
Look,
almost,
I'm really of a
almost as
growth
much as was spoken. Sorry. Go.
Oh, look, sorry to cut you off.
Mhm.
I'm very much into the growth mindset, you know, and I really hope I would much prefer a studio to release a bad game and then learn from it and then, you know, come back. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing better than, you know, a revenge story or, you know, like I love it when people come back from a knockback, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely disappointing that these people have lost their jobs. I don't know where the problems lie, but yeah, it would have been nice if they just would have learnt and, you know, released something really cool afterwards.
Yeah. Ooh, just to clarify, Cutie, they got folded into Square.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no one
Yeah.
actually. Some of them did lose their jobs.
Yeah.
But I'll give you the same take that I did on Sunday with this. If corporate, let's say everyone here is working at a place, okay, and corporate gives you $50 million on a project, and you go and you make a project and it is an absolute turd, should you lose your job?
Yes.
Okay, then that's a moot point. So what they did is the smart thing is took all the talent, folded it into another studio, and just like closed the book on that one. So it sucks to suck, but I mean, after a performance like that, like you shouldn't like. There's probably you need to work on something else because the Luminous engine's not working for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to give a controversial take.
Mm.
Yeah, it's not going to be nice. For anybody that lost their job, absolutely, I feel for them. I hope they land on their feet. But this is absolutely exactly what Square deserves. They
Spicy.
for years. They have for years shown that money is not a priority to them, and that they mismanaged. If you're going to talk about Xbox mismanagement,
Oh,
Square
yeah.
makes Microsoft look like, I don't know, like Sony. That's the best way I could put it, because the moves they've made are like confusing as hell. You know what I mean? It makes no sense. When they could be having their games on all these platforms day and date and making the most maximum profit they could, they refuse. They'll give us scraps, and then when it doesn't sell well or do well, oh well, see, we tried. No, you really didn't. You gave us the scraps, the table scraps. Nobody wants that. Where's the Final Fantasy VII remake that you all said was coming to us, but then all of a sudden you made a deal with Sony? Where is the Forspoken? Although I'm glad they did not come over, but still, 2 years of exclusivity to PlayStation for that. Well, look at the most recent with Octopath Traveler 2, which was on Game Pass, and they, by the way, celebrated on Twitter, saying on the people that played it and the sales and all of that, they celebrated it, and yet no Octopath Traveler 2 on Xbox. The moves they make no sense. Look at the things they sold off. They sold off their Western division. The sales were never good enough for them, and now they release a trash game in Forspoken, and now Luminous Production has folded, and they're being folded into the company.
They sold off one of their best IPs. Fuck, Tomb Raider, dude.
Ever. One of the most iconic characters of all time. You sold her off.
Yeah.
How does that make sense?
Square Enix
So-
have basically become a first-party studio of Sony.
That's exactly what's going to happen. It's pretty much, I've been saying it for years now, that Square is pretty much de facto first party for Sony, right? And I think that's what they've been setting themselves up for. That's the only thing that would make any sense. Otherwise,
Would you
it's
buy
like,
them?
If I was Sony, I would.
I wouldn't
And now
touch it. I wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot cattle prod there.
I would
Just-
buy them just
still
for Final
have
Fantasy
legendary
IP.
IP.
Yeah,
they
that
still got
IP
legendary
is
IP.
and if they can actually get their shit in order, then there are some amazing IPs that can be made
under
from
Sony,
what
Pete,
they own.
Under
Under Sony,
they
yes,
would
yes.
soar.
They would
under Sony.
flourish. I agree.
No question. So
Yeah,
if I
I
was
agree.
Sony, absolutely, I would get them. Hell, if I was Microsoft, I'd get them just to
I was just gonna say, I wouldn't get them now if I was Microsoft because they lost Tomb Raider. They
Oh, yeah,
they
that's
lost
fair.
Deus Ex developers. Yeah, IOI. They lost. I forget the name off the top of my head, but you guys
Yeah.
know the studios that
Yeah,
I'm
they
talking
they
about.
lost a lot of good quality ones, but you're right. But my thing is just to say, I don't feel sorry for the company folding just for the reason because of Square. Square sucks in so many different ways. So, in my, I guess my best Xbot impression, haha, is what you get. But again, for those who did lose their jobs, I'm not sure how many did. My condolences. I hope they land on their feet. I will say that. I don't want to rub anything in there.
I hope you land on your head.
Yeah, this
No.
game was heavily promoted by Sony. It was going to be the next big thing. And when I first saw gameplay of this game, I was so looking forward to it. The fluidity of movement, it just looked incredibly fun. I haven't played the game. So, but everything I've heard of it is just, really, really bad. I don't mind the stereotypical story, and I never have. If you do an orphan story well, it is an amazing story. Superman, Batman, Oliver Twist, Peter Pan. There are 1,000 orphan stories that are written incredibly well. Not only that, a person that's down on their luck, in trouble with the law. I think if the story was done well, if the writing was done well, this game could have been incredibly good. And just unfortunately, it didn't hit. I feel sorry for the people that lost their jobs, but at the end of the day, we're running businesses here. The amount of money that game would have lost, I don't think they would have recouped the money for just marketing of the game. The amount I saw this game marketed, every day I was getting an ad for it on YouTube. So yeah, there was, a lot there. Whatever they do next, I hope is good. And just one more thing on Square Enix. Even when they have an incredibly successful game like Outriders that they put day on date on Game Pass, they bag it. They say, oh, it didn't sell well enough, we shouldn't have done this, we shouldn't have done that. I don't know what's going over there on Square, but management definitely needs a change.
It's nonsensical. It's nonsensical all around. By the way, they even praised Outriders at first, the way it was performing. And then they were like, oh, it didn't meet our quotas or whatever. I don't know. I don't understand them. But imagine if they would have actually brought Forspoken to Game Pass, for instance, and got Microsoft to pay for that. Maybe we wouldn't be looking at Luminous Productions closing down.
It'd still be a shit game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But it probably would have performed way better as far as people playing it and stuff like that, and they actually would have recouped enough money to keep them around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of wish Microsoft would do that to 343, to be honest with you.
I don't know if they would go for that game. It's so bad.
No.
I think
just fold them in. Fold those people into another studio and then give that IP off to a different studio.
Nah, they've made their move with 343, I think. Like now you have to again the old Xbox thing. The bit thing we're best at, you gotta sit back and wait. I'm disillusioned with 343, but they've made major shifts in management. We've talked on 343 like heaps, but they've made the major shifts in management. We got to give them the chance now to do what they're going to do, which is we don't know if they're going to make another game or if they're going to continue to support. They haven't really come out and said anything concrete. So yeah, again, we're just going to do the old Xbox thing and wait. Oh, excuse me. We'll move on to the next topic. Before we do, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share us out, tell your grandma about us. I don't know why your grandmas are nice. Paradox. What the fuck is wrong with me?
Mine is. My grandma's great.
No, I bet she is.
That sounded a little bit creepy the way you said that. I'm gonna say.
What?
She makes me cookies and brownies.
No, stop. That's so wholesome. Too wholesome for this show.
In a very creepy way. That's it. Yeah. Look, so Paradox had a showcase, and it was actually pretty darn good. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I skimmed through this whole thing, and so I didn't get because I've had a very busy week. My poor son's got tonsillitis, poor little fella. But I did catch a couple, and a couple of the ones that stood out to me were I'm not a big fan of Crusader Kings, but Lamplighters League. I'm always down for a decent tactical turn-based strategy game. And this one looks pretty good. Did anyone else get a chance to check out the Paradox showcase? Pete, what were your thoughts on it?
I did. I really like that Lamplighters Crusaders. I think that looks really cool. I generally don't get into those type of games, but I like that, you're uh, dregs of society. I like that, you're the assassins, you're the murderers, you're, the bad guys. I think that's really cool. 1932, I think it's a really good time period to set their game in, the time of the League of Nations, all that kind of stuff. I like that I get an Indiana Jones vibe out of the game. That one definitely stood out to me. The other one that stood out, and I haven't really seen people been talking about it a lot, is Life by You by the guy that made The Sims. Now, I looked at the store the other day, and The Sims has maybe 20 DLCs. They're all $10 each, and but at this stage, EA are it's just a joke how much they're charging you for them. They're basically giving you two things and charging you $10 for. I think The Sims needs a competitor. I think Life by You can be that competitor, and so those two are the ones that really stood out to me. Crusader Kings, I've heard, is a masterpiece of a game. There's DLC coming for that. The DLC sounds really, really cool. So, you're back in the old, night days where you have to do all these tournaments and then you can go out and, you can win the tournament, or you can go out and you can kill all your foes while you're at the tournament, or you can just put on the tournament and show everybody how rich and cool you are. I love the intrigue of that game. I think it's just too deep of a game for me, but yeah, Paradox Entertainment look really, really good, and I think Umbra, you said some of them are coming to Game Pass.
Yeah, some of them are. Lamplighters, Lamplighters League. That one is coming through for sure. I believe Civilization 6 might be as well, if I'm not mistaken. And it was one
Yes.
other one. I can't remember which one. It's another one too.
Yeah,
But
but they'll all be available to play on Xbox.
yeah, but they all will be available on Xbox. That's the good thing. Lamplighters League actually looks really, really good. I like the aesthetic of it, the setting and all of that. It looks really dope. I think I might actually get into that. A lot of the games they showed, by the way, they're heavy on Paradox is heavy on, sim and strategy type games. So this right here will speak to a lot of those types of gamers more so than anything. I'm so when it comes to that. So, I typically prefer to have the action at my fingertips to do what I want to do and not have to plot out everything and let it auto battle, for instance. You know what I mean?
Read.
And read. Damn you.
I
did
agree.
enough of
But
that
for
with
what they
Pentiment.
were, they looked really, really good.
Yeah, but they do look solid. They had the Knights of Pen and Paper. So a lot of these games are aimed at those types of gamers, really. I mean, a lot of this is, tabletop gamers. And the Life by You, I don't know if it really captured me, but it did look interesting. I will agree. They had another one, I think it was called Mechabellum. That's like a auto battler too. So they're heavy on that. So if you're that type of gamer where you like a lot of strategy type gaming, this is going to speak to you more so than anything. But I would say the standout for me was absolutely Lamplighters. That actually I think is going to be really great personally.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just good to see, little publishers coming out with some pretty decent little games. That's, I'm always down, like I said, for a tactical turn based. So that is something that's definitely on my radar. I still got to get Midnight Suns. Marc, did you check out the Paradox showcase?
When was it on?
It was a couple of days ago, like 3 days ago, I believe.
March 7th.
Oh yeah, I'm on PC. I was playing games. I'm sorry.
Well, PC's never short of games, is it, Marc?
Never. It's never short of games. No, I didn't get to see it, but I'm looking at the page right now. That Lamplight looks kind of cool. I've never been a big city
heavy
building.
on expansions. Like there was quite a few
Okay.
expansions announced that day.
Yeah, I'm big on just like non AAA games in general, and I know some of these you would consider a AAA game, but I think that's what drives the market in general. It's what it definitely drives AAAs to start stealing their ideas to put them in their own game. So
I wouldn't
always
consider
good.
any
It's
of these
always-
games AAA personally.
but it's always good to see smaller games get put out.
So you're a bit of a shovelware fan. Game Pass should be
no,
right up
No,
your
I don't own a Nintendo. I'm sorry.
Cutie, what were your thoughts on Paradox? I know that you were pretty chuffed with the show.
Really? No, it was good. Yeah, like I said, I think when they did the little sneak of Life by Year, I was like, okay, I forgot everything that was in the showcase because I'm really, really psyched about that game because they have. I feel like it's just going to be next level because they have got the developer from The Sims 2 and The Sims 3. Rod Humble also worked on Second Life, and Second Life arguably has the most beautiful character character customization. So I think it's going to be good. I don't know when it's going to come out, but I'm definitely playing
March
it.
20, we're getting a full-on review, a whole thing for Life by JediKnightPete. So chuck it in
Yeah.
your diary. It looks really, really good, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. I love a good life sim.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan, to be honest, but it does look interesting. I was just flicking through and what's the giggle?
Just like because they're like, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Like, yeah, I'm not a fan.
Okay, you can. There's some games you like. Like I don't always like turn-based games. To be honest, they're a bit boring sometimes.
It's like,
But
Yeah, look,
I
I
don't
was
like
the
that.
same as you,
I
Cutie, and
use-
then I played Gears Tactics, and that game kind of sold me on the turn-based games. I played a little bit of Wasteland 3, and a lot of them I wouldn't typically play because I like having control of the character myself. But that's why this Lamplighters League really stood out. It looks very reminiscent of Gears Tactics to me, and I like the characters. I like the different types of characters in there. I like that 1930s theme. I like the Indiana Jones vibe. There's occult magic in it. All that kind of stuff. All that intrigue, all that mystery. I think that looks really, really cool with a little bit of light-hearted nature behind it.
Yeah, that to me, I wouldn't say boring. I would say more. I would
it's not
say
a cozy gamer.
I would say cerebral. It's a thinking man's game. Look, when it comes to tactical turn-based games, I did just want to call out that this week, the Games with Gold lineup has a pretty cool tactical game in it called Sudden Strike 4. It is a classic. So definitely check that one out if you are into tactical turn-based games. It is free, so jump on it and download it. And another game I just wanted to call out as well was Kart Racer Drift, which me and Pete were talking about earlier in the show. That is free. I think it was released on the 9th or the 8th. And it's pretty fun, sort of like a Super Mario sort of a deal. And our next topic is, and final topic, the thing is...
I just wanted to say that Lamplighters League will be releasing on Xbox Game Pass day one.
Day one.
Said that already, Pete. Thank you.
Yeah, he did.
I wasn't listening to you, bro. You know that.
We have a shitload coming though. This is the thing. Like, and I know I've been pretty vocal about saying, and it's been a bit an argument for. Well, we got plenty to play for Starfield, and that's not wrong. Like, it's not something that's it's not an arguable thing, really. We have got plenty to play. We've had a shitload drop recently. I'm still making my way through Dead Space, as you can see on screen. I'm a little bit further than the footage there. I haven't had a chance to cap any new stuff. We've had Harry Potter, which everyone in the community has almost completed. I've barely touched. What else we had? Midnight Suns is released. We've got Atomic Heart I still got to get to. Valheim's
Atomic Heart.
Wolong just dropped. Valheim's coming on
Yeah. You console guys, do not sleep on Valheim. I promise you'll have a good time.
Yeah,
I heard good things about it.
Yeah, when it dropped, it was huge, and I was like, "Oh, damn! It's only on PC, and those scumbags are going to play it, and I won't get to it. It doesn't seem right." But
you have Valheim on the put this on your radar segment that I loved because I came up with it.
We did. Shit, we got Sifu coming on. You came up with the segment? No, you didn't.
Yeah.
No, I stole it straight.
Wow.
I stole it straight from Skill Up. What are you talking about? March 15th, Sifu's dropping. Sorry, Skill Up if you're listening.
I might get Sifu.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it.
PC.
It's $60 on Xbox in Australia. I'm not sure what the price is, but it's not a full price game.
Is it going to be 60 or if it's 60 now?
No.
60 for
60 in
Australia. They're generally 100, so I don't know what that would be for you guys.
Yeah, like 30. I think it's about 30, $40 for you guys.
$30.
Yeah. I mean, look, The big one, I think, that everyone's been waiting for, it's going to be dropping pretty soon, is Peppa Pig World Adventures. So that's an open world
Year.
RPG in the vein
Hack
of
and slash.
hack and slash MMO. It's going to be big.
Pre-ordered, baby.
Yeah,
Pre-ordered.
Get that downloaded ASAP and ready to go. But the one I'm looking forward to most, and I just wanted to ask the panel, and then we'll get on because we've only got 10 minutes. Just quickly, as I do the outros, let me know what you're looking forward to coming up this month. The big one for me is Resident Evil 4 Remake. I am looking forward to that. Marc, you've been an absolutely fantastic guest as always. Obviously, we don't hold that you're on PC against you much. Thanks for coming through, man. Late notice. Really appreciate all of your takes. Let people know where they can find you, what you're up to. And your channel is going absolutely off. And I'm loving seeing it. Your content is awesome, dude. Like some of those videos are fucking hilarious. Keep it up, man. I'm loving it.
Yeah, you can find us at Legendary Drops on YouTube. I'm never on Twitter. Ian is, and he's just Legendary Ian on Twitter.
Yeah,
so what I'm probably looking forward to in March is to get to April. That's probably what I'm looking to the most.
You piece of shit.
So yeah, it's a lot of Xbox games coming out, I guess.
Wow. Exciting times for Marc.
No, I'm just kidding. Like I said, I'm on vacation. I'm going through my backlog. I'm just trying to catch up to everything before I drop into Romancylvania.
Yeah. Oh, that's another one that's coming out. It just has come out. Dead Cells
I'm
Return
not
to
making
Castlevania.
a joke. I want that game. Yeah, I want that game.
Yeah.
Are you excited for April because of the Star Wars or?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jedi Survivor.
I mean, that's
Oh
April.
yeah, man.
Resident Evil 4 for me is hopefully going to be a good one. Cutie, another great week, another great show. Let the people know where they can find you. And again, I will say, if you want to find any one of the guests or anyone on the panel, it is down below in the description. Just click on those links and you can head over and follow, like, subscribe, do whatever you want to do to their socials.
You can find me in Melbourne this weekend. I'll be hitting up the Games Expo. It's the very first one. Hopefully, they're intending it to be a yearly event in Melbourne. So exciting
Bash.
time. Oh, okay, Peter. I'll see you there, darling. This month I am actually super excited for the rally adventure that's going to be added to Forza Horizon 5. It looks amazing. They're saying that this will have the most extreme driving roads ever. So if anyone wants to jump in to that with me, please do, because I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Can I call out one more thing as well before we move on to Jedi and say I found something aside from breaking my heart with Starfield that Phil Spencer does that pisses me off. He says Rowley. It's not Rowley, dude. It's Rally. I don't know what it is with you damn Americans and you damn
It's his accent.
Honestly. JediKnightPete, another fantastic show. Let the people know what you'd be up to, what you'd be playing, and what are you most looking forward to coming up in March?
Yeah, can't believe I didn't mention this at the top of the show, but I jumped into Halo Season 3 yesterday, and it was amazing to see the amount of names that came through into the party with us, just because Halo was back. Everybody was really looking forward to it. Unfortunately, I didn't get to play with Jay and KJ. I know they were playing it, but Finny jumped in, Mexican Panda jumped in, and we had a really, really good time. So, Halo's back, guys. The store's already better. I've got the Battle Pass. I'm already up to level 7 on that. There are 2 armor cores that have dropped, both the Chimera and the Mirage ICC. They're actually pretty good. There's some good stuff in the Battle Pass, and there's some not so good stuff in the Battle Pass. But all in all, I think it's going to be a really, really good season. So I'll be playing that. I've still got to finish Hogwarts, the game that Judy only believes exists in the world. I've still got to finish Wolong. I know that Resident Evil 4 is coming out, but look, April, I'm a little bit like Marc. I think April is going to be my month. Dead Island 2 looks amazing, and then my game Jedi Survivor. I cannot wait for that game. Absolutely love it. Mark, I wanted to just say a personal thank you. I think 20 minutes before this show, I jumped into an Xbox party and invited you on the show, and it shows the quality of the man that you just came straight through for us, mate. So I really do appreciate that. Riskit,
Thank you, Peter. All I had to do was put on underwear, so it was all good. So.
Love you guys. Well, that's more than I did.
What?
You put on
I'm not
underwear?
butt naked? All of us are butt naked right now. What are
No
you
comment. Absolutely no comment. Not even going there.
Cutie for our fellow simps in the audience. She is butt naked like all of us. So
Yeah, I'm
give us
definitely
thumbs
butt
up and
naked.
like and follow
Hey,
us.
it's 5 a.m.
Trying to work that groove
I
in,
literally
man.
rolled out of bed and rocked up.
There you go.
Another great show. I will try and be there watching live with you guys so we can interact with you guys. We should be live next week, guys. So looking forward to that.
Absolutely, me too. Umbra, another fantastic week. I can't believe we didn't go head to head on Starfield. We were both extremely respectful. It's not what I was expecting.
You know, I think you had enough. You had enough already. I don't want to add on to it, but I think actually we debated it out enough. I think we got our thoughts out enough. It's like, what more needs to be said, right? I get where you stand on it. You get where I stand.
Riskit was wrong and we were right.
Yeah, exactly.
What else you said?
Of course.
What else?
It's pretty good. You guys are pretty good the whole show. I'm surprised there wasn't more knee comments. Like, I really am.
Very gracious, right? Very gracious. You know, that's me and Pete for you. We're gracious. Like
I remember it, and I will take it under consideration next time.
You are going to rub it in our face so hard. You're right. You already know. You already know. We know. No, but yeah, excellent show. Great thoughts and takes, everybody. And Mark, like Pete said, you're welcome for joining us. I meant to say thank you.
Careful, your graces is showing.
Well, I just needed to hear your voice before my shower later, so thank you.
Wait a minute. No.
Let's get it.
No.
I don't give consent.
Keep it in the DMs, Mark. Keep it in the DMs.
That's a Mark Hamill, I am your father moment. That is. No.
No, but seriously, thanks for joining us, brother, man. Like Pete pointed out, I was really last second because of the cancellation, unfortunately. And I knew you all, when you were going to wake up, you were like, oh, no. Like, I knew it. It was like I was already on the case, but that was when I was about to hit the bed for a brief moment. I am really tired, everybody, because, you know, we had to switch up things here.
Yeah.
It's in my sleep schedule part right here. But, you know, for this show, I don't mind doing it because I love talking with you all about gaming. Of course, you all can find me on Twitter, Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite. You'll find me either way. And on Tuesdays on Xbox Factor podcast with Boom and Cast at 12 o'clock Eastern. And typically, of course, with us here on Fridays at 7 o'clock Eastern. So come by, like, subscribe, give us your love. And of course, you can right now, by the way, if you feel so inclined to subscribe to my channel now, just to be ready for when the fix actually drops. I'm aiming for the end of this month, if not next month. I have some things to take care of that have to happen before I can launch for my own standard of quality, if you will. And other than that, yeah.
You have standards, bro?
Yeah. Very low standards.
Can't wait, bro. I can't wait for the fix, man. I am already subscribed.
I appreciate it, brother. Thank you. Yeah, and yeah, so I was going to say, as far as games I'm looking forward to, absolutely. Resident Evil 4 for this month is the top, no question, top billing.
Mhm.
But I am so far back behind on other games I need to get into, including Halo Season 3, Pete. I got to get on that, and I'm going to get on it this week heavy. So that and Wolong I haven't even touched. So after I get this last achievement in Hogwarts, I'm done with that. I'm going to delete that. Get it out of my way, and I'll be touching other games for this week. And so Resident Evil 4 will be the game, but it might have to be on wait too.
Absolutely, man. Resident Evil 4 is top of my list. Look, it's been a fantastic show. You guys have been absolutely amazing. Everyone in the chat who came through for us, I really appreciate you guys. I know you're not here, so I'm talking to future people. I just want to leave you guys with my reaction when I found out Starfield was going to be delayed. Guys on the panel, you won't hear this, but you can watch it later. Thanks for coming through, guys. Have a good week.